It's time to talk about Rumpletrotskin. Gonna quickly fade to our puppet master. You can go ahead and watch his wonderful puppets as we get all of this set up, because it does take a little bit of setup time. Especially when I don't initiate the windows properly, so then I have to tell it to initiate the windows properly.
Jealous of his puppet.
By the way, as an aside, just as a slight random tangent, while I'm getting this set up, I'm slightly happy and excited because I managed to get a hold of the latest Yakuza game for $30. No, Infinite Wealth.
Ah.
Which I got.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Steam. I was wondering if that was a new one.
Yeah, Infinite Wealth is a new one, but I actually got a physical PS5 copy from GameStop earlier today, in fact, for $30. So they're getting closer to clearancing to getting rid of them, which is pretty much what I'm waiting for at this point with that game, because I don't like the DLC practices it came out with on it. So I made it a point to wait. But now I literally have a copy of every single Yakuza game that has ever come out in the US, including the non-physical, the man who erased his name, and the more exclusively painfully elusive Dead Souls, which does have a physical copy, but so I have a digital version of that one. Anyway, we're gonna, now that the tangent is out of the way, it means also we are ready for this. Now, this, of course, is once again Pinkie Tells Rumpletrotskin by Magpie Pony. Now, for a little bit of history, it has been a number of years since the last Pinkie Tells. In fact, let me go ahead and bring up here real fast, because I do believe I know which one it was.
What the fuck?
Huh?
Sorry, I found a. Sorry, I just brought up. I just searched up the Yakuza Dead Souls.
Yeah.
Somebody actually has a sealed copy that's been Wata graded
Oh God.
at a 9.6. So they're asking $900 for it.
Yeah, I'd ignore that one. They're obviously fleecing like hell.
Of course.
Yeah, but there is. Let me see. Oh,
But yeah,
$93 for Asia English version. Okay.
yeah, no, the English American versions are nuts to get incomplete, let alone just a disc. But you can get it online from the PlayStation Store for like $10-20. It's actually ridiculously cheap while it's still functioning. So of course, getting back into this, the Pinkie Tales, the last one that was actually made, was 5 years ago.
Oh God!
5 years ago, and that was Slumberjack, which was kind of funny because it actually did have. It had Applejack. They had one of the original voice actors of Applejack, who unfortunately is not part of the Brony fandom anymore, but they were willing to come on one last time to voice Applejack for this last one. It was really fun, but it unfortunately deals with Applejack, who is aware during these stories. She's aware, but she has no ability to do anything about it. While Pinkie is also aware. While Pinkie is also aware, but she is the one manipulating everything. So it's like being caught up in somebody's insanity and you can't do anything about it. Of course,
she is the sane Earth Pony. Pinkie is the insane one.
Of course, it did have a fun twist ending near the end, but we're gonna leave that one alone for the time being. And that was it, or so we thought. We hadn't seen, like I said, 5 years since the last one, and now we had Rumpletrotskin come back 5 years later. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Has it been really 5 years since the last one?
I am not kidding. I literally pulled it up just now.
Jesus. Oh.
Oh, got some corruption there.
Well, that can't be good, can it?
Once upon a time, there was a
somehow
vast
horror
pony
vibes.
kingdom ruled by a fair and just king. When the king passed away, his two daughters, Solar Mare and Filly Moon, inherited the land. The realm was divided into two.
Solar Mare, Philly Moon. You know what? I do like the art style here. It kind of reminiscent of the book of the initial.
The Two Sisters.
Well, the book, yeah, the Tale of the Two Sisters, the book opening from the entire series.
Yeah.
Oh. It obviously is also playing off the original Tale of the Two Sisters with one in the day, one in the night. Anyway.
Queendoms called Daylight and Midnight. Although the queens were given equal shares of land, each sister
There's
wanted
the
her
land of
queendom
day
to
and
be
the land
better
of
than
night.
the others.
One called Sunlight, one called Detroit.
And one where the red light district is fun, and the other one where the red light district is where you get sunburned. Your guess is as good as mine. Which one's which?
This is giving me some Hexiforce vibes.
Competed for just about everything. The most wealth, the most resources, the most commodities, and the most adoring subjects.
And also the biggest burritos. Okay, that was dumb. Continuing on.
The latter was in short supply in the Queendom of Daylight, as Queen Solar Mare taxed her poor citizens until their breaking point to fund her lavish lifestyle. The morale of Daylight's impoverished ponies had fallen so low, the Queen decided to hold a massive celebration to honor some returning heroes from their perilous quest. 6 of the Queendom's bravest ponies were brought before the Queen to receive their medals and accolades.
Just really quick, I do like how they made the sun mare not actually Celestia colored. I mean, it's obviously Celestia,
Yeah.
but it's actually got just golden hair and everything going on there.
Yeah, it'd make her more stand out
Oh!
and different.
Actually, no, I just realized. I think it's also supposed to be a slight homage to Daybreaker there, because you got the red
little
eyes.
bit.
You got the red eyes going on
Except
the golden hair.
Daybreaker's not. Except this Daybreaker's good.
Well,
Nah,
let's find
she's
out.
still taxing the people.
She is still kind of a pain, but her hair's not on fire. Let's see what happens.
Ponies of Daylight, I am pleased to announce that the great terror known as G5 Spike has been vanquished at last.
Okay, that was
Oh
such
my
a dig.
God.
Queen Solar
Sorry,
Mare
no.
exclaimed,
Not
and
gonna
the
pause
gathered
that yet.
ponies cheered in response.
Today, we honor these heroes
Twilight
with
is
medals
too
of
happy with
bravery
this.
and feast to their glory.
Well, you see what happened to G5
Solar
Spike?
Mare added, using her magic to place the gold medals around each of the 6 ponies' necks. While the attending ponies continued their shouts and stomps of praise, one of the 6 heroes pulled another aside. The bright pink Earth pony with the bouncy pink mane whispered frantically to the orange Earth pony with a blonde mane and tail.
Applejack, something is wrong. I didn't even know we were in a story until I heard Once Upon a Time. And when I went to stop the story to find out what the hell was going on, nothing happened. Hang on. Did the narrator just narrate me talking to you? But I'm not even a character. This is your doing, Applejack, isn't it? Isn't it?
The pony she spoke to gave her a sideways glance in confusion.
You ain't the one doing this? This here is normal, Pinkie. At least it is for me. Kinda nice to see you get a taste of your own medicine, though.
The pink mare's eyes wavered in confusion and fear.
Alright, alright. If you're really that upset, I'll try and stop it myself.
Apple Peasant replied.
Your name is Apple Peasant?
Pink Peasant guffawed in response.
She'll not help her out.
Apple
with that.
Peasant and Pink Peasant. At least she got Apple.
Yeah, well, in fairness, her name is Pinkie, so...
Was Twilight smart president, Fluttershy, animal peasant?
You know, let's find out.
Wait, Pink Peasant? What kind of stupid pun is
Now, we must discuss a matter of utmost importance.
Solar Mare interrupted, now addressing the heroes personally.
My guards have informed me that you 6 are late on your taxes. Is this true?
The 6 ponies looked amongst themselves in surprise. A former student of the Queen herself, Book Peasant, stepped forward meekly to reply on
Book
behalf
Peasant.
of her friends.
Your Majesty, we just returned from our royal mission. We haven't had a chance to earn any money since we were away on our perilous quest.
Slaying an abomination doesn't exempt you from the law, book peasant. Surely you don't expect me to bend the rules just because you saved us.
Solar Mare said, absent of mercy.
Can we pay you with these?
The yellow-coated, pink-maned Pegasus called Quiet Peasant asked, holding up her heroic
Well, there you go,
medal.
quiet peasant.
Those? That's not nearly enough gold to cover your debts.
Solar Mare scoffed.
Well,
Pink Peasant whispered frantically to Apple Peasant.
I'm trying. I'm supposed to have that story-breaking upgrade since the last Pinkie Tales, but it ain't working. What'd you do?
it's not me. I swear. Wait a minute. I know who's doing this to us. Discord. This is exactly the kind of thing that he'd pull.
Pink Peasant narrowed her eyes in anger and clenched her teeth. Suddenly, a Draconiquus appeared from...
Well, I think we got the answer to that. I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit here. Discord looks completely off of art style from everybody else, which kind of fits in a weird way.
Yeah,
it's
it's
yeah,
not like,
it's like
You're
a-
supposed to be here.
Yeah, because I'll admit for at first glance, him coming out of the hair looks weird to me, but that's all. But then my brain kicks in and goes like, oh wait, that's hair on the back. Of course, it would be held down on by whatever is still in her hair.
Mhm.
yeah, and it's not off-brand for him. He does random things, and him looking a bit out of place would fit with the randomness that he creates.
Well, let's see since this isn't a Discord Tales, let's see what in the world just happened.
within Pink Peasant's
Also, is
mane,
that Silver Quill
with an
I hear?
innocent smile upon his face.
It could be.
Was not I.
Oh,
I
what?
personally find the story rather dull and uninteresting.
Oh, that's a voice I
Nothing
remember.
fit for the likes of
Let's be
me. I'm going to go hang out in the comments section demanding to know what happened to Spike Nokia with the rest of the internet.
Discord, the Lord
Spike Nokia. Oh crap! Now I'm curious.
of
Spike Nokia.
Chaos replied.
Listen, life happened, some stuff came up, it's a story about Spike, and somehow I have to make that interesting. Wait, he's narrating you too? You can't stop the story?
Seems not. Perhaps there's a bit of good chaos here after all. Oh well, off to the comments I go. I think I'll throw in a couple, where's Ask Ponies? And when's the next Princess Trixie Sparkle 2 in there as well?
Oh my god!
Discord said with a guffaw of laughter, receding into her mane without another word.
Well, do you have your taxes or not?
Solar Mare asked, her patience running thin.
Applejack, I'm freaking out. This is not okay.
Pink Peasant screamed, warranting some unwanted attention from the guards nearby.
You're right, Pink Peasant. It isn't okay. I have half a mind to throw you all in my dungeon for such a crime.
Solar Mare remarked. Apple
Now remember, everybody, just because you could save an entire country and do amazing things that will keep the populace alive does not exempt you from taxes. Pay your local USC, pay your local taxes. That's how they got Jimmy Hoffa, man.
That's right.
There
That's
are
right.
two
Pay,
things.
that's right. Pay your taxes to the U.S. Doesn't matter if you're in another country. Pay them to us.
Yeah.
There are two things that are certain in life: death and taxes.
Peasant quickly covered Pink
At this
Peasant's
point,
mouth and
death
shot the
is
queen an
preferable.
apologetic smile.
Shh. You just gotta play along for now until we figure this out, okay? Last thing we need is your mouth getting us thrown in a cell.
Apple Peasant whispered fervently to Pink Peasant, keeping her voice too low for the monarch to hear. The light blue-coated Pegasus hero with a rainbow mane and tail stepped forward to stand alongside Book Peasant. She quickly chimed in, hoping to spare them all a terrible fate.
Okay, really quickly. We are probably going to hear these two peasants. What do you think they are?
I want to say Ratty Peasant and what would be Dash? That is a hard question because we can't go with Speed Peasant because that would praise her.
And can't go gay peasant because.
I say rainbow peasant and hot peasant or beauty peasant.
No, it would be bratty. It would not be hot.
That's also wrong. Just beauty peasants. Everybody ready for this national beauty peasant? all the
probably probably fashion peasant.
I'm thinking style peasant. Style peasant and
those came to mind, but beauty came to mind because I was reminded of Shadowplay that Miss Main was the element of beauty or something.
I want to say style peasant and trash peasant, just to knock on the rainbow trash thing.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
There's no need for that, Your Majesty, because, Fashion Peasant once told me she can spin hay into gold.
Well, fashion peasant it was.
That was metaphorical, brash peasant. My country.
Wait, what?
DK line is the only thing ponies can afford anymore.
Did she call
Fashion
her
peasant,
brat?
a white unicorn mare
Yeah, I
with
think
a
she
styled
did.
purple mane quickly emerged.
Rewind.
Shut up.
Hay into gold, you say?
Solar Mare said curiously, ignoring Fashion Peasant's response.
Then it is settled. I shall have the 6 of you thrown into a dungeon where you will assist Fashion Peasant in spinning all the hay in the castle into gold.
Solar Mare clapped her hooves joyously as she motioned to the guards. Without hesitation, they swarmed the Queendom's heroes, ready to herd them toward their awaiting imprisonment.
You have until dawn. If I return and find my hay has been spun into gold, you will be set free, your debts repaid. If not, well, you'll remain in there forever. That's called incentive.
Solar Mare added, practically preening as she sat atop her golden throne. The 6 confused peasants.
Alright, so apparently it was brash peasant that we were hearing.
Oh, brash.
Yes.
Were then quickly ushered out of the throne room and away from their own celebration to the dungeon.
Alright, just had to pause out here because it is kind of funny that the art style has been pretty much the same since the start of this, which honestly for other Pinkie Tales it is kind of a surprise. Usually they have different art styles going on, and this has been following the whole Ask series, which isn't bad. It's just kind of a funny change. Anyway, moving on.
I'm not opposed to this, but it's just a little getting used to.
No, it's okay getting used to. It's just kind of an observation, but it's fun. It's interesting to see consistent.
I actually like these models.
They're they're amazing models. I absolutely love them. I'd like to get a circuit one of these at some point.
Just with the screenshot, you can tell. Twilight and Fluttershy don't know what's going on. Randy's tuning into Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie and Applejack very unimpressed and having to think about something.
Well, they are kind of stuck in a story, and they know it. Their story, and they know it. Down.
Below. They were then unceremoniously locked inside a large, dreary-looking cell that had been stuffed floor to ceiling with hay. Once the guards left, the group of ponies looked to Fashion Peasant, hoping for a miracle.
Playing along will keep us from getting thrown into prison. Huh? Don't look at me. It was metaphorical, I tell you.
And you expected Brash to understand what metaphorical meant?
Well, can't you just try?
Brash Peasant inquired nervously, realizing the mess she'd gotten them all into.
And how exactly do you expect me to spin anything without the proper tools? Huh? Aren't you a unicorn? Can't you just poof us out of here?
These cells are enchanted, Pink Peasant. Pony magic of any kind will not work in here.
We'll just see about that. I think this is a problem for good old Betsy.
Pink Peasant said with a devious smile.
Who the hey is Betsy?
Brash Peasant asked, while Apple Peasant face-palmed into her hoof.
My party attack tank. She has a 5-mile confetti range. These walls will know I'm hidden.
5 miles.
Peasant decreed, putting her hoof into her mane in hopes of producing their salvation. However, after a few moments of searching, the truth finally sank in for Pink Peasant. Her once reality-breaking mane was now nothing more than hairs attached to her head.
No, it can't be. You just can't. Oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna be trapped here forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
I always
He
wondered
needs a
what
stress salad.
I always wondered what would happen if somebody who actually had access to hammer space and knew they had access to hammer space suddenly lost their access to hammer space.
I think there's a Deadpool comic about that, but I'm not sure.
There probably is.
Actually, by that metric, does anybody even know what the hell
Travel.
hammer space is anymore?
It's a pocket dimension.
Well, yeah, but it just feels like it was an old school term that nobody uses anymore. I could be wrong.
Well,
When you lose access
technically
to
they
hammer
still
space,
do.
you need to. When you lose access to hammer space, you travel to hammer space to get the access back, right?
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things of they had to go with the rule of funny or the rule of how do I get out of this unwinnable situation?
One does not simply travel to hammer space. All right, let's go ahead before we have to get on hammer pants.
Why can't I stop the story?
Is that some ponies in trouble, I hear?
An unfamiliar voice asked from behind the closed dungeon door. All 6 ponies watched in shock as a hooded figure entered the dungeon with a devious smile on his obscured face.
Perhaps I may lend a helping hoof.
He added as the door shut behind him.
Who are you?
Okay, taking bets. Who do you think that this is supposed to be? Well, I mean, other than the fact that it's obviously Rumpletrotskin, but who do you think? Who's the character behind the mirror?
I'm thinking that's our narrator just doing a little bit of self-inserting.
Nah, I think it might be. I think they actually are going to be referring back to what's his face? The Pony of Shadows, ain't the
Stygian.
Stygian. Yeah, I think it might be Stygian.
I'm not sure.
That is the question, because they are a white character, and there are very few actually
Actually,
white
that's
characters.
not quite the same coat color, though.
Yeah, but
It
I'm
almost
going.
is, but
I'm going to go off of just the fact that it is still kind of a lightish color and it is a pony hiding in shadows. I just think it'd be a funny little just random dichotomy out of nowhere. Wait,
Or
what's...
it could be shining armor. Who knows?
Ooh, it could be shining armor. Yeah.
I blame.
wouldn't it be
Rumple.
insane if it was Sombra?
That would
That
be
would be a
random.
different color altogether.
That would be random
Yeah,
though.
but-
I'll give it. That'd be funny random. Funny random.
Yeah, it would be funny random.
Could have just let us out. Not that logic has any place in these here stories.
Pink Peasant's eyes lit up and she gasped in realization.
That's the same voice as the narrator. Who are you? What?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves now. The who's and the what's will have to wait. I sense there's a far more pressing matter at hoof, isn't there?
The figure asked, cutting off Pink Peasant before she could ruin the plot of the story.
Seems to me you ponies could use an enchanted spinning wheel. One that can indeed spin
Now,
your
see,
hay into
this-
gold.
yeah, definitely
And it just so
feeling
happens
Stygian.
that I have one to trade.
The stranger stepped aside, revealing an old wooden spinning wheel that hadn't been there a moment ago.
Oh, so our magic doesn't work, but yours does? I see what you mean about the logic thing, Apple Peasant.
But we have nothing to trade for such a magical relic.
On the contrary, those medals around your neck will do nicely as payment.
Blue blood, royal magic works.
Well, what do you know? Rumpelstiltskin apparently doesn't want the firstborn. He just wants gold medals. He must be.
Blue blood, it could be a thing.
Oh, blue blood would be amazing. That would
be out of left field since he
That
was
would be
never
s-
mentioned after season 1.
that would be so left field. That would be finding a baseball in a soccer match. That's how crazy left field that is.
I didn't expect him to even try blue blood if it turns out to be the case.
Yeah. Though I wanted to make a joke about him just wanting to be on the cover of a Wheaties box because of just wanting all the medals. Anyway.
But if you could just make your own gold with the spinning wheel, why would you want our medals? Even Fluttershy's pointing out the plot holes now? What kind of crazy story is this?
My magic won't work for me, silly ponies. Why else would I have come? So, what do you say? Do we have a deal?
The stranger asked with no further explanation or clarification. With no other choice or means of escape, the 6 peasants sadly removed and gathered their medals and handed them over to the stranger in their cell. The stranger smiled and tucked the medals away in his cloak.
You'll have until dawn, when the enchanted object will disappear forever. Good luck, my little ponies.
The stranger said, giddily prancing back through the door and leaving the spinning wheel behind. Pink Peasant was so downtrodden about her lack of control that she couldn't even enjoy the word-for-word reference he just made. Once the stranger was gone, Apple Peasant had the thought to check the door, but knew it would be for naught, as her assumptions about illogical storytelling would be correct. Cautiously, Fashion Peasant approached the spinning wheel with a hoof full of hay. She reached out for the spindle to begin the impossible process when Pink Peasant suddenly cried out in fear.
Fashion Peasant, don't! It's a trap! Don't prick your hoof on the spindle!
Wrong story,
No,
Pinkie.
no, it is not
It's an
Sleeping Beauty.
enchanted spinning wheel? Where do you think he got it from, AJ?
Who in daylight would be moronic enough to prick themselves on a spindle? Perhaps you should leave the spinning to the professionals, Pinkie.
Wow,
Fashion
that's a
Peasant
knock.
said, worried for the sanity of her friend. Against Pink Peasant's wishes, Fashion Peasant started to feed the hay she'd gathered into the spinning wheel.
She's gonna fall into a deep sleep and then we'll never get out of here.
Pink Peasant cried woefully, slumping to the ground and burying her face in her hooves. The other ponies walked.
Well, that probably explains why Pinkie never has the stories working right. Just a
You
thought.
know what? That actually is a fair case, because she will confuse multiple stories.
Watched on bated breath as the spinning wheel began to spin. The hay that Fashion Peasant fed onto the bobbin was transformed into golden threads right before their eyes. A collective gasp echoed in the dungeon cell as the 6 ponies realized they would be saved after all. Fashion worked through the night, her friends taking turns fetching the hay for her to spin to gold. Eventually, the other ponies wore themselves out and slept on the cold stone floor, while Fashion Peasant kept working. When the first light of dawn trickled into their dungeon cell, the room was entirely bare of hay and filled instead with spools of golden thread. Fashion Peasant could barely keep her eyes open, and didn't have the strength to react when the spinning wheel vanished, as the stranger had foretold. As if on cue, the door to the cell was unlocked and opened. The sound woke the other ponies, and they came face to face with their monarch and her many guards.
Oh my me! This is incredible! Had I known you spoke true, I would have gathered far more than just the castle's hay. Why, there's enough gold here to weave into golden robes. That's sure to make Filly Moon jealous. Guards, I want all the hay in my queendom to be gathered and brought to the castle at once.
Hearing this, Fashion Peasant instantly conceded to her fatigue, fainting onto a pile of golden thread.
Ha! A deep sleep. Told you so.
But our debt is repaid, is it not, Your Majesty?
Book Peasant asked hesitantly.
And here is where we learn the wonderful story. Do not do anything for anybody because they will expect more and more. People suck.
Also, this now makes it official. The Land of Equestria doesn't work on verbal agreements.
Yeah.
There's no verbal contracts in Equestria.
Not that
Well, in this version of Equestria, we don't know the actual one.
Well, though we are also dealing with
This
monarchy,
is why
that
you
probably
should always have an NDA.
Though we are dealing with monarchy, they'd probably just tear it up and say, whatever.
Also, we are dealing with a greed-driven person who is trying to openly impress because how dare anyone be more pretty than her?
Well, give them a couple more weeks, maybe they'll have a massive revolt and both queens are going to get unceremonious. I was going to say unceremoniously removed from the throne, but fair enough.
Queen Solar Mare glared down at her former pupil.
Also,
with
I
a
just
scowl.
made a realization.
Your debt is repaid when I say it is repaid, and it shan't be
Damn,
repaid
Jimmy.
until all of Daylight's hay has been turned into gold. Guards, take these peasants to another cell, a larger one, and fill it with my queendom's hay.
Tell me again why we do everything the Queen says in this, or any other reality.
Apple Peasant's question remained unanswered as the guards ushered the 5 peasants from their cell, having to carry the unconscious Fashion Peasant on their backs. They were brought to a new and empty cell. Over the course of the day, guards came and went, filling the cell with the gathered hay from the Queendom of Daylight. Soon enough, the ponies were in a similar predicament as the night prior, but with no enchanted spinning wheel or a mare to be able to spin it.
Alright, actually, I'm going to call this right now. I think what's going to happen is eventually they're going to actually get all the hay to gold, but the problem is that means all of the food is gone.
Yeah,
And we can see what happens at that point.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens.
Also, before you resume, I would like to make a prediction. This may be out of left field, but ever since you mentioned it might have been Blue Blood, I'm gonna go a little bit further outside the box. What if it was, since the narrator is Silver Quill? What if that pony is turns out to be one of Silver Quill's earliest OCs with a certain circle around his eye?
That'd be funny. I'm gonna rebuttal with Chancellor Nacy.
Bridally
I
cash
doubt that, but go on.
Good luck. Unless we have a prince stashed around here somewhere, she is out.
Exhaustion ain't the same thing as pricking your hoof, Pink.
That may be so, but I think Fashion Peasant has more than earned some rest. If that stranger comes again, maybe we can barter for the spinning wheel and the rest of us can spin instead.
Are some ponies looking for little old me?
A familiar voice asked, and the ponies turned their heads to see the stranger resting on a bale of hay in their cell.
Where did you come from?
Are we to waste time asking questions, or are we going to strike a deal?
But this time we don't have anything to give you. Actually...
Pink Peasant said, trotting over to the stranger with a smug smile.
I may or may not have grabbed a few spools of gold thread before we were yeeted out of that cell. I think I'm catching on to your little game, Mr. Mystery Pony.
Golden thread. It's not worth an enchanted spinning wheel, but it might be just enough for this spell book. In it, you will find a spell that transcends pony magic. One of your unicorn friends might be able to conjure it. Seeing how one of you is getting her beauty sleep, I suppose that means it's all up to you, Bookie.
The strange pony said, giving the magical tome to Book Peasant before snatching up the golden spools.
Once the spell is complete, the book will vanish.
What's up with the Cinderella magic disappearing rule?
Pink Peasant asked, though meant it more rhetorically than literally. There came no reply, as the strange pony...
Does anybody else get reminded of that book that caused Rarity to become like a crazed fashion?
Inspiration manifestation.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Just had to point that out.
He had vanished as quickly as he had appeared. Book Peasant wasted no time opening the book to find only one passage in its entirety.
Huh. It says here that I need a pony subject. Any volunteers?
I volunteer Brash, since she's the reason we're in this mess.
Ha! You think I'm afraid of some book? Bring it on!
Brash Peasant replied confidently. Book Peasant nodded, then turned her eyes back to the spellbook. Silently, Book Peasant read the incantations and summoned forth her unicorn magic. To her shock and delight, her horns started to glow, but unlike its usual pink hue, this magical glow took on a golden tint instead. Book Peasant directed the spell at Brash, who braced for impact. When the magical blast dissipated, the book was gone. The 5 ponies and their sleeping friend appeared unchanged.
Was that supposed to do something?
Brash asked, unimpressed. She took a step towards Book Peasant when the stone beneath her hoof started to glow. The 5 friends watched
no.
as the stone beneath Brash Peasant
It's a Midas
turned
touch.
to solid gold.
Whoa! Did you ponies see that?
Brash Peasant proclaimed, reaching out her hoof to touch a bale of hay. It too was engulfed in a magical glow before turning into solid gold. Brash Peasant knocked her hoof against the solidified golden mass to check its legitimacy.
Oh yeah! We'll be out of here in no time!
Brash Peasant rejoiced. She zipped around the dungeon, touching every bale and piece of hay she could get her hooves on, as well as the stones that made up their prison for good measure. As the room slowly turned to gold, Apple Peasant excused herself from the group to stand in the far corner. She could predict exactly how this scenario would turn out. Once the room and all its contents were golden, Brash Peasant rejoined the group, hovering above the ground in flight with a victorious smile.
Our problems were solved in 10 seconds flat! We make a pretty awesome team, Book Peasant. Hoof bump.
Book Peasant reacted without thinking, raising her hoof to meet Brash's. Once she made contact with Brash, however, Book Peasant herself was engulfed in light.
There it is.
Transformed into solid gold.
Alright, so we went from Rumpletrotskin to Midas. Who else wants to...
Touch.
He touched it once, he touched it twice. And now the Twilight's gold. Oh no! It's the golden staff! It's the Twilight golden staff! This is where it came from!
No!
No.
It's Twilight staff! Run!
Brash gasped, putting her hooves to her mouth in shock and horror. In doing so, the light engulfed her as well, and a solid brass-shaped hunk of gold fell to the ground.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I did not see that one coming. That one I did not see coming.
Aladdin and the King of Thieves!
Oh no.
Well, kind of,
Which
but...
again, still have the Midas thing.
Yeah, but not quite like that. Geez.
Midas was unable to turn himself into gold.
Yeah, that's wild.
Nearly crushing Quiet Peasant.
Yep, that's about what I expected.
Apple Peasant remarked, joining Pink and Quiet Peasant as they stared horrified at their friend's new fate.
First Fashion Peasant is cursed, and now Brash and Book are too? Is this a fairy tale or a f***ing grimdark?
Pink Peasant asked in bewilderment, while Fashion Peasant continued snoring nearby, completely unfazed and unaffected. The next morning, Solar Mare was delighted to find the room of solid gold.
Incredible! Absolutely marvelous! I've already taken the liberty of having more hay brought from other lands and realms. Even Midnight sold us some of their hay. The fools! But alas, there's only one cell left in my dungeons. You ponies, you heroes, have impressed me so much that not only is your debt repaid, but this time I will incentivize you with a reward. If you ponies can turn all of our acquired hay into gold, then I will grant each of you alicornhood.
Solar Mare exclaimed, happier than any of the peasants had ever seen her before.
Alright everybody, we figured it out. If you want to become an actual pony and an alicorn to boot, you apparently got to turn an entire room into gold, including all of the stuff in it. Who wants to get started? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not worth it.
Follow me.
Solar Mare herself guided the remaining ponies from the second cell to the final one. She had a passing thought that there was less heroes than she remembered there being.
Okay, yeah, 3 rooms. You have to turn 3 rooms filled with stuff into gold. Including your friends. You know what? Worth it some cases.
But was too preoccupied with visions of gold to care. The door to the final, largest cell was then shut and locked, with 3 hopeless heroes inside.
Oh, please tell me you're able to grab some gold like last time, Pink Peasant. Everything was solid gold, and my reality-bending powers have been nerfed into the ground. What do you expect from me?
My, seems quite the dilemma.
The stranger said, poofing into the room. His appearance no longer surprised the ponies.
You can't get something for nothing. That's not how deals work, little ponies. You must offer me something of great value if you wish my help for a 3rd night in a row.
How can we be sure it'll actually be helpful? Ain't a single one of us knows how to sew.
Actually... And none of us here can cast any magic spells, so just exactly how are you going to help us?
Pink Peasant continued, eyeing the stranger suspiciously.
Payment first, problem solving after.
The stranger insisted.
Any ideas?
Apple Peasant asked her remaining friends, sarcasm still present in her tone.
Ooh, I got it! The most valuable thing of all!
Pinkie, no!
Pink Peasant declared, rejoicing. She bounced with glee.
Okay, so she's either going to sell a hug from Fluttershy, or she's going to sell Fluttershy. At which point, Pinkie either becomes a shrewd negotiator or a slave driver. I don't know which is going to be the worst.
And you all could play when Rainbow
just...
Dash sold Fluttershy into slavery on Tradia.
Can't we just sell the squee noise such that no pony can use it ever again?
No, that belongs to the internet now.
And it's trademarked.
Before scooping up Quiet Peasant in her hooves and presenting her to the stranger.
We'll give you Quiet Peasant!
What?
Value.
Okay, yep, she's a slave trader.
Indeed, the stranger smirked.
It's a deal.
And with a stomp of his hoof, Quiet Peasant vanished into thin air without a chance to protest.
Pinkie, what the hey?
Don't you mean hell?
I'll leave the comment section to hate on you for the cursing this time.
The stranger approached Pink Peasant and reached with an outstretched hoof into her mane. Pink Peasant was immediately aghast at the audacity. No pony or creature had ever dared to explore the contents of her mane, especially when she herself could not do so.
Hey! Get out of there! What is your problem?
Bad touch. Bad
Not
touch.
a problem, but a solution.
The stranger said smugly, producing Betsy, the party tank, from Pink Peasant's mane. It landed with a loud thud on the dungeon's stone floor.
Betsy the party tank will be available in World of Tanks the next day. And it'll probably be sold for $50. It'll be sold for $50 too. Stupid fleece-mongering sons of a...
Betsy?
She just needs one little modification.
The stranger said, taking a hoofful of a strange golden dust from a pouch hidden beneath his cloak. He sprinkled the dust over Betsy, and the tank shimmered.
Now if you feed hay into it, it will shoot out golden confetti when fired.
Pretty sure that's not how tank works.
Without another word, the stranger poofed himself away, leaving no trace behind of his presence.
She's gonna destroy her kingdom with
You
gold.
go get the hay, and I'll get to the exploding.
Are we not gonna talk about the fact that you just traded away Quiet Peasant like that?
The third deal is always the worst one. Duh. When we're alicorns, we'll turn Dash and Twilight back to normal, we'll wake up Rarity, and we'll get Fluttershy back. Alicorn powers are OP, right?
I hope you know what you're doing.
Apple Peasant said, unconvinced.
I'm not sure of anything anymore. Fire in the hole!
And she has lost it.
Pink Peasant exclaimed,
She's just
blasting the
going to
first
the
pile
point.
of hay into a sea of golden confetti flakes. The next morning, Queen Solar Mare arrived at dawn and gazed upon her new fortune with delight.
Wait a minute. Didn't we already do this whole thing with all the main 6 becoming alicorns, and didn't it lead to Equestria blowing up more than a few times?
Yes.
Alright, just moving on.
Just a little bit.
Okay, moving on.
As she promised, the two heroes were whisked away to an unknown starry realm, where they were hastily given alicorn horns and wings. The queen then presented the new alicorns to the awaiting crowd that had gathered at the palace.
And I present to you your new queens, Queen Applebutt and Queen Balloonbutt. Your new problem is on their shoulders and not
She's got
my
the
own.
apple bottom
Quick.
pony.
I'm sure they'll find your missing hay somewhere and be able to feed you all.
She turned to the new alicorns and slyly added under her breath,
Who needs the stress of ruling a queendom when you have enough gold to last 1,000 lifetimes?
Oh, I called it! I called the hay hunger!
Queen Solar Mare teleported herself away, leaving the new queens to the mercy of their new subjects.
is your problem
Applebutt
now.
and Balloonbutt's eyes widened in horror when they realized the gathered crowd was not there to celebrate, but had been an angry mob attacking the castle's door. Solar Mare's greed had wasted all of their food supply for winter. They shouted in anger, shaking their hooves, pitchforks, and torches as the ex-queen and her guards loaded her spoils onto an awaiting train nearby.
Oh, no, you don't.
Applebutt whispered angrily, magicking herself and Balloonbutt away. Minutes later, the two monarchs reappeared in the throne room with the golden statues of Book Peasant and Brash Peasant, along with the sleeping Fashion Peasant.
I've heard of beauty sleep, but this is ridiculous.
This is hardly the time for one of your lackluster jokes, Pinkie Pie. This supposed OP alicorn magic is useless for fixing our friends. How exactly do you suppose we get Fluttershy back, wake up Rarity, fix Dash and Twi, and appease that crowd out there? They're faster than a pair of raccoons found for scraps in a garbage pail.
Okay. Hear me out. We can't stop the story because that stranger pony has us trapped in here, right? Well, I happen to know which story this is, and I know for a fact that all our problems can be solved in one word. Mr. Stranger.
On cue, the mysterious stranger appeared out of nowhere and bowed before the two new monarchs.
Your Highnesses, you called?
The stranger asked, bemused.
We want Quiet Peasant back, and we're willing to make a deal together.
Pinkie, maybe we should discuss this before we go into something half-cocked and crazy.
Who wants to make a bet? Does she screw it up? Does she actually succeed? Do we find out who the narrator is?
Applebutt said cautiously, distrustful of her friend's ability to solve their crisis.
And what, pray tell, would this deal be?
These two solid gold cursed pony friends will be yours, unless we tell you your name. If we guess it right, you have to give us Quiet Peasant and fix all of our friends. Oh, and if it's not too much trouble, let us out!
If you discover my identity, then I will indeed agree to your terms.
The stranger said, reaching out his hoof to shake.
Now, hang on.
Applebutt said, trying to protest, but Balloonbutt reached for the hoof shake before she could formulate her words.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny that they changed them from Apple Peasant and Pink Peasant to Apple and Balloonbutt immediately. Just right in the story, to just immediately.
Deal! Don't worry, AJ. I got this. You are Rumpletrotskin!
That may be my name, but not my identity. If you wish to leave this story, you must tell me who trapped you here oh so cleverly. Better hurry. That crowd out there doesn't sound too merciful.
Ah, I saw that coming.
Nice going, Pinkie.
Applebutt said with a long sigh of exasperation.
Alright, let's see. Who would have a grudge against you? Who wouldn't have a grudge against you?
No, but that's your name. That's how the story works. You can't just break the plot.
You mean like you do in every other Pinkie Tales you've ever told?
Gotcha there, Pinks.
Okay, shut up. Let me think. You're Twilight.
Balloonbutt guessed. Applebutt interrupted Balloonbutt's train of thought by pointing to the solidified book peasant statue with a raised eyebrow.
Right. Some pony not in the story. So then you're Queen Chrysalis.
Nope.
Starlight Glimmer. Reformed my flank.
Afraid not.
Oh, if I had my fourth wall breaking powers, I'd just pull up the villain wiki. Tyrek? Sombra? Discord, even though we said it wasn't him?
Nope, nuh-uh, and nice try, but no.
Applebutt let out a long, frustrated sigh. She knew this was going to take a while, and that Balloonbutt was too frazzled at being wrong again to come up with the actual right answer. She lounged against the golden brash and magicked herself an apple to eat while she waited for Balloonbutt to list every pony she'd ever suspected.
Perfect pause.
Look at that face.
Okay, so anybody want to change their guess on who the villain, on who the narrator actually is? Especially since apparently they already went through a bunch of names.
You know, the fact that I actually scanned ahead means I'm out of the running here. Have fun, guys.
It's actually Pinkie Pie.
Ooh, that would actually that would be a twist. Like no.
Oh wait, it runs in the family. What if it's Maud?
I would say you got the right idea of family.
Oh, interesting. Oh wait, wait. Do you think it's Dad? It's Pinkie's dad. Wow, that would be amazing. All right, let's see.
An hour later, Balloonbutt's voice was getting hoarse, and the crowd outside was still as angry as ever. The door they were beating against was weakened, small cracks in the wood indicating that it would soon give way. Applebutt had spent that time mulling over the options of this mysterious pony's identity and had narrowed it down to 3 suspects in her mind.
I know.
A weak, hoarse Balloonbutt tried to exclaim.
It's so clear. I've been a fool. You're not a pony at all. You're a gummy. It makes so much sense. It must be you, gummy.
The stranger laughed and shook his head. It was Balloonbutt's final straw. and she took her defeat far less gracefully. She launched herself at the stranger, attempting to pull his cloak away and reveal his identity for herself.
Show me! Show me you are Gummy! I don't believe you! Let me out!
Before the scuffle could escalate and the crowd burst through the doors, Applebutt spoke up.
I have the answer.
Balloonbutt and the stranger looked her way, Balloonbutt falling to the floor with a small oof. Applebutt confidently trotted to the stranger's side and leaned in to whisper in his ear.
How did you know?
The stranger cried, shocked to be outed at last.
But you can't. The story was just getting good. No!
Wait, what? Who was it?
Since it wasn't Gummy, there were only 2 ponies left on my list. And they're
Wow, so Gummy actually was on her list.
the ones with the biggest grap with y'all's stories. Pound and Pumpkin.
Oh,
Whoa.
Pinkie, it's been 10 years. We told you, we're too old for fairy tales.
Oh, the beginning.
Princesses,
When they
heroes,
disappeared.
magic. We live that every day. We want something more exciting.
Like Hunger Games.
No, the Twilight Saga. Not the princesses.
No.
Ah.
Sparkly vampires.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Sillies! Growing up and stealing my story-breaking power. I couldn't be more proud.
Right. Well, if y'all go with the sparkly vampire one, could you leave me out of it?
No.
Figures.
Well, I guess that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching our 10-year channel anniversary special. Woo!
Oh, so that's why that happened. Well, cool to know that there was an anniversary reason behind it.
Love you all.
Neat.
As I said, as soon as I looked forward, I went, okay, I can't guess.
Alright, so it looks like the voice actor was Ferris Metal. So,
Nice.
Nope, not Silver Quill.
Wow. He almost sounded like Silver Quill.
Of course, Magpie.
Yep. Great voice actors there, one and all.
I was the twins came to mind, but I didn't. I thought they were gonna go like
The Wilsonator.
physically because of everyone else's previous predictions.
Will's wife.
I'm not gonna lie though, this is gonna be a sad but funny way of wrapping up the whole Pinkie Tail series if that's how they're gonna wrap it up. Like literally, they're
Well,
too old.
they
for
are
it.
older now.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It's good, but it sucks at the same time because it does mean the end of the era. Granted, we thought it ended a few years ago, so the fact that it came back out of nowhere is also kind of surprising. But you know,
Do they have
it
any
was.
stories left to tell.
Oh, there's plenty of stories. It's fairy tales, for God's sakes. There's so many that they could do. Though, I'm not going to lie, I kind of would like to see them do a Pinkie Tails version of Twilight just because it would still be horrible, but it would probably be bearable.